October 9th, 1975, Greenwich Village, New York City, 2 p.m. A man sat on the corner of Bleecker and McDougal, guitar case open, few coins inside, scruffy beard, round sunglasses, old army jacket, baseball cap pulled low. Just another street musician, one of hundreds in the village, invisible, forgotten. He started playing, nothing fancy, just chords, old rock and roll songs. People walked past, some dropped quarters. Most ignored him completely. For 2 hours he played, and nobody knew. Nobody recognized that this homeless-looking busker, this struggling street musician, was John Lennon, former Beatle, rock legend, millionaire, sitting on a sidewalk, playing for change. And then, one person figured it out, and what happened next became New York legend. Yet if you want to discover what happens when fame disappears and only music remains, tap that subscribe button, because this story's about being invisible and being free. October 1975, John Lennon was in hiding, not from the law, not from danger, from himself, from fame, from being John Lennon. For 15 years, since 1960, he'd been public property, owned by millions, belonging to everyone except himself. The Beatles years, the screaming, the cameras, the expectations, then the solo years, the activism, the bed-ins, Yoko, the controversy, every move watched, every word analyzed, every mistake headlines. By 1975, John was exhausted, burned out, desperate for silence. So he did something radical. He disappeared. He called it his lost weekend, but it lasted 18 months. Separated from Yoko, living in Los Angeles, then New York, drinking, using, spiraling. But somewhere in the chaos, John found something he'd lost: the ability to be nobody, to walk down a street and not be recognized, to just exist. He grew a beard, thick, unkempt, hiding his famous face, wore sunglasses everywhere, even at night, even indoors, dressed in thrift store clothes, old jackets, worn jeans, boots with holes, and people looked right through him, past him, never seeing John Lennon, just seeing another nobody. It was the greatest gift, the most valuable thing he'd ever had: anonymity. Have you ever wanted to be invisible? To walk without being watched? John Lennon lived that dream for 18 months on the streets of New York. October 9th, John's 35th birthday. He woke up alone in his apartment. No celebration planned, no party, no cake. Yoko hadn't called, Paul hadn't called, nobody remembered, or maybe they just didn't care anymore. John looked at himself in the mirror, beard covering his face, sunglasses hiding his eyes, cap pulled low. "Happy birthday, John," he said to his reflection, voice bitter, sad. He grabbed his guitar, his old Gibson acoustic, the one he'd written songs on in Hamburg, and he left his apartment, walked down the stairs, out into the New York afternoon. He had no plan, no destination, just needed to not be alone, needed to feel something. Greenwich Village, the heart of New York's music scene, where Dylan had played, where folk music lived. John walked the streets, past record stores, past cafes, past other musicians setting up on corners. And then he saw it, a corner, Bleecker and McDougal, empty, available. He sat down, back against a brick wall, opened his guitar case, placed it in front of him, a few coins from his pocket, seating the case, the busker's trick, showing people it's okay to give, and he started playing. John played Chuck Berry, old rock and roll, the songs that had made him want to be a musician. His fingers remembered, muscle memory from 1,000 performances, a million practice sessions. But his voice was different now, rougher, worn by cigarettes and shouting and life. People walked past, businessmen in suits, students with backpacks, tourists with cameras. Some glanced, some smiled, a few dropped change, quarters mostly, $1 bill. But nobody stopped, nobody stared. Nobody recognized the voice that had sung to millions. John was just another busker, another dreamer, another guy who'd never made it, and he loved it, absolutely loved it. An hour passed. John played continuously, his fingers sore, his voice tired. The guitar case had maybe $5 in it, enough for a sandwich, a beer, more money than some buskers made in a day, less than John made in a second from royalties. But this money felt real, earned, not from fame, from music, pure and simple. A young couple stopped, listened for a minute, the girl swaying slightly. "You're really good," she said, dropping $1 in the case. "Thanks, love," John replied, Liverpool accent thick, voice gravelly. "You should try to get signed or something," the boy added. "You've got talent." John laughed, genuinely laughed. "Yeah, maybe someday." They walked away, never knowing they just told John Lennon to get a record deal. What would you do if you could be anonymous for a day? John was living that reality, and it was everything he dreamed. 2 hours in, John's voice was shot, his fingers bleeding slightly, but he kept playing. A small crowd had gathered, maybe 10 people, standing in a semicircle, listening. This was more attention than he wanted, but less than he'd feared. They weren't screaming, weren't crying, weren't demanding anything, just listening, appreciating, being present with the music. John played an old Beatles song, changed the melody slightly, slowed it down, made it his own. Nobody recognized it, or if they did, they didn't connect it to him. Just another cover, another tribute, another echo of something famous. Then a kid approached, maybe 12 years old, shaggy hair, t-shirt with a peace sign. He stood right in front of John, staring, squinting through John's sunglasses. John's heart raced. Had he been recognized? Was it over? "Mister," the kid said, "you play really good, but you look really sad." John stopped playing, looked at this kid, this honest, fearless kid. "Yeah," John said. "What makes you say that?" "Your songs," the kid replied. "They sound like someone who lost something." John's throat tightened, because the kid was right, brutally, perfectly right. "Maybe I did," John admitted. "Maybe I lost a lot of things." "Well," the kid said, digging in his pocket, pulling out a crumpled $5 bill. "This is all I got, but I hope you find them." He dropped the money in the case, smiled, walked away. John stared at that $5, and something inside him broke, or healed, or both. That $5 meant more than any platinum record. 3 o'clock. John had been playing for an hour straight. No breaks, no water, just music. His voice was barely there, reduced to a whisper, a rasp. But he kept going, because stopping meant going home, meant being alone, meant remembering it was his birthday and nobody cared. Then someone stopped, stood very close, staring. John didn't look up, kept playing, kept his head down. "Excuse me," a man's voice, older, New York accent. "I know this sounds crazy, but are you?" John's hands froze on the guitar. "Here it comes, the end of the freedom." He looked up, saw an old man, 70 maybe, wearing a worn suit, kind eyes. "Are you okay, son?" the man asked. Not, "Are you John Lennon?" Just, "Are you okay?" John exhaled, relief flooding through him. "Yeah, I'm okay, just playing some music." "It's good music," the man said. "Reminds me of my youth, when music meant something." "It still means something," John said quietly. "Just have to remember what." The man nodded, pulled out his wallet, took out a $20 bill, placed it gently in the guitar case. "Happy birthday, kid," he said. John's head snapped up. "How did you—" The man smiled, tapped his temple. "I know faces, even behind beards and glasses. I'm a doorman at the Dakota, been watching you come and go for months. You think that disguise works, but your walk gives you away. You walk like someone who used to own the world, even when you're pretending you don't." John laughed, caught, exposed, but somehow okay with it. "You gonna tell anyone?" John asked. "Tell them what?" the man replied. "That I saw a musician playing guitar on his birthday? Who'd care?" He winked, started to walk away, then stopped. "Hey, Lennon. Yeah? Stop hiding. The world misses you." And he was gone, disappeared into the New York crowd. John sat there, stunned, looking at the $20 bill. The world misses you. Did they? Or did they miss John Lennon, Beatle? The product, not the person? He picked up his guitar, started playing again. But different now. Not covers, not other people's songs. His own. One he'd been writing in his head for months. The melody that would become a verse in a future song. Raw, honest, vulnerable. And people stopped. Really stopped. Because this was different. This was real. Within minutes, the crowd had grown. 20 people, 30, all standing silently, listening. John played, his voice barely above a whisper. But somehow everyone heard. A woman started crying. She didn't know why, just felt something. A man closed his eyes, transported back to his youth, to simpler times. A teenager pulled out a lighter, held it up, the first concert lighter, before anyone asked for it. And slowly, one by one, others joined. 10 lighters, 20, 30 points of light. In the middle of the afternoon, on a New York street corner, a spontaneous vigil. For what? Nobody knew. For music, for moment, for the man playing guitar who seemed to need it. John looked up, saw the lights, saw the faces, and he understood. They didn't know it was him, but they felt it anyway. The truth underneath the disguise. That music transcends identity. That connection doesn't need names. He was anonymous, but he was seen, really seen, maybe for the first time in years. Not as John Lennon, as a musician, a human, a soul sharing something real. What John did next shocked everyone. He stood up, slowly, stiffly, his legs cramped from sitting, took off his sunglasses, hung them on his shirt collar, took off his cap, let his shaggy hair fall free, and in a voice barely there, whispered into the afternoon air, "Thank you for listening, really listening." Someone in the crowd gasped. "Oh my God, is that another person? It can't be." A third, "That's John Lennon." The whispers spread, shock rippling through the 30 people. But nobody rushed forward, nobody screamed, nobody broke the moment. They just stood there, honoring what had happened, what they'd witnessed. John picked up his guitar case, the coins and bills inside, maybe $60. He walked to a young girl in the crowd, maybe 16, eyes wide with disbelief. "Here," he said, handing her the entire case of money, "for your music lessons, or whatever you dream about." But that's yours," she stammered. "Nah," John smiled. "I got what I needed. I got to be nobody for a few hours. Best birthday present I could ask for." John walked away, put his sunglasses back on, cap pulled low, disappeared into New York. The crowd stood there, processing, trying to understand what they'd witnessed. Some people ran after him, but he was gone, vanished like a ghost. The story spread. John Lennon was busking on Bleecker Street. Did you hear? But nobody could prove it. No photos, no recordings, just 30 witnesses. And the magic of it was, most people didn't believe them. John Lennon wouldn't busk. You're making it up. That's ridiculous. But the 30 people who were there, they knew. They'd been present for something sacred. That night, John went home to his apartment, alone. Still no calls, still no birthday wishes. But he felt different, lighter, free. He'd spent his birthday being nobody and found out that nobody was somebody real. The kid who said he looked sad, the old doorman who recognized his walk, the crowd that lit lighters without being asked. They'd seen him, not John Lennon, just him, the musician underneath the myth. Years later, when asked about his lost weekend period, John would smile mysteriously. I did things during that time, he'd say, things nobody knows about. I was a different person, or maybe I was myself for the first time. I learned that fame is a prison, but music is freedom. And on my 35th birthday, I played guitar on a street corner, and I was happy. Interviewers would laugh, thinking he was joking, being poetic, but John was telling the truth, the absolute truth. October 9th, 1975, John Lennon's 35th birthday, the day nobody remembered, except 30 strangers on Bleecker Street, who witnessed a Beatle being a busker, a legend being human, an icon being invisible. The $60 John made that day, he gave it all away because he'd earned something more valuable: perspective, peace, presence. He'd learned that you don't need to be John Lennon to matter. You just need to be there, to play music, to connect, to be real. 5 years later, December 8th, 1980, John would be murdered. But on October 9th, 1975, he was alive, truly alive, sitting on a sidewalk, playing guitar, nobody screaming his name, nobody demanding anything, just listening. That's all he'd ever wanted, to be heard without being consumed, to give music without giving himself away. And for 3 hours on a New York street corner, he got that wish. The 30 people who were there, they carry that memory like a treasure. I saw John Lennon play guitar on Bleecker Street, they tell their grandchildren. And the grandchildren ask, did you get his autograph? No, they say. Something better, I got to hear him, really hear him. Not as a Beatle, as a musician, pure and simple. If you ever walk down Bleecker Street in Greenwich Village, look at the corner of McDougal. There's a small plaque now. It doesn't say John Lennon played here. That would miss the point. It just says, music lives here, always has, always will. And that's exactly what John would have wanted. Not a monument to him, but a reminder of what matters. Music, connection, being human, being present, being nobody and everybody at once. John Lennon, the invisible busker, the anonymous legend, the man who wanted to disappear, found out that when you strip away fame, when you remove the myth, what's left is a musician with a guitar, sharing what he has. And that's enough. It's always been enough. Rest in peace, John. Thank you for the music, for the honesty, for the October afternoon when you were nobody and taught us all. That being nobody is its own kind of freedom, the best kind, the kind that lasts forever.